Hi everyone, I am Kim from Yesterday's Tomorrows, and I am with the Paint Couture creative team. Today I'll be working on a round cardboard box that I found at a thrift store, and I'll be creating some shabby chic home decor. Now I'm just showing you some of the products I'll be using. All the products will be in the description below, so just go on down. You can find all the products I'm using here. Some of my favorites: the vintage moss, the Candlelight paint, and the vintage lace, and also the spiced cinnamon ink. Love all those products. All right, so, and this is the decoupage medium I like to use, the one that shine, and this is from iFlex, and it's the bow. Isn't that so pretty? All right, so let's start. Now I'm just going to be painting the, hold on a minute, there we go, painting the rim, and I'm just putting on the 3-in-1 primer around the rim, just so when I apply the paint that I will make sure that it sticks. The box was a little bit on the shiny side, so it's also always good to put a little bit of primer just so you make sure that your paint adheres to your project. Now, I'm not going to be putting it on the lid because I will be also putting decoupage paper on, so I won't have to worry about that. All right, so let's begin on the box. Now, I already put the 3-in-1 primer around the edges, just like that, just for the sake of time. You do not need to see me paint on it. But anyway, did you see the checks on there? I'm going to be painting checks right on top of those using vintage moss with where the red checks are. And then where the lighter checks are, I will be doing Candlelight. So how easy is this going to be to put checks on when you already have the checks? All I have to do is follow in the lines. So when you're putting the checks on, you just want to use a small amount of paint, and you go across and then down. And you'll get perfect checks every time, even if you don't have checks to follow. You'll get perfect checks every time by just doing it this way. Put it down and then across, just like that. And make sure you do not have a lot of paint on your brush. You just need a little bit. Now, isn't that pretty? Didn't that come out gorgeous? All right, so now you just dry it a little bit. And then on the other checks, we're using the color Candlelight. Loving it. It's a very, very antique-ish color white. Has a lot of cream tones to it, and then I'm just going to follow in the same way I did the vintage moss checks. You go straight down, and then you just go across, just like so. The most important thing I can emphasize is you do not want a lot of paint on your brush, or otherwise you're going to, it's going to be too thick and they won't look very, very natural. So there we go. And don't worry about perfection. When you're doing checks, checks aren't supposed to look perfect. Perfectly imperfect is what you're striving for, and some checks might be bigger, some checks might be smaller, and that is totally okay. All right, so there we go. It's all done. Now with the rim of it, I'm going to be doing in the vintage moss also, so it will be tied all together. Doesn't that look so pretty? Now I'm just giving you an idea. You go with the colors you like. Paint Couture paints have a bunch of all different colors that you can choose from, and then remember, they also have a built-in primer and top coat in it. All right, so now we're going to start on the top, and we're going to take the Candlelight, and of course when you're decoupaging, you need to put a light color paint down on the bottom, just so your paper doesn't the image on the bottom does not come through your decoupage paper. Easy for me to say. All right, so I had to put 2 coats because there was a lot of writing and a lot of print on the very top of that box. So it's 2 coats of the Candlelight, and then once it's dry, we'll be ready to put on the beautiful shabby chic looking decoupage paper. Now, the paper I did get at All Paint Products. Like I said, all the links will be down below. And then you just wanted to fit it around the top of the box, just like so. And now we're going to decoupage it right there. Now, I like to use the decoupage medium in shine. Doesn't come out shiny. It comes out like a satin finish, but I just love it. Now, the most important thing I always say is thin coats. You do not need a lot of decoupage medium. Your paper will lie a lot flatter if you just put a very, very thin coat. So there we go. We got our thin coated decoupage medium. Now I put down my paper and I just lay it down, and then I just go and I smooth it out. Now I like this little felt thing that I have to smooth it out, and I'm just trying to get the bubbles out, and if there's any wrinkling. Now me, I don't mind wrinkling. If any wrinkles come, I love them, but if you do not like wrinkling, at this point you can get them out. So now I just want to dry it, and before I go sanding the edges off, you want to make sure that it is dry. This way you'll get a nice clean edge and you do not tear your paper. So this is my sanding sponge right there, and if you can see, right, I'm just sanding it off and I'm getting a really nice clean edge along the whole top of the box. But doesn't it look pretty with that gorgeous Shabby Chic paper on top? It just makes it. All right, so just go around, and because it's dry, the paper, it is coming off really, really easy. And that is it. Look how pretty that looks. Now, I'm also going to take the vintage moss and go around the edges of the very top of the box too. So everything will tie in with the beautiful checks that I did around the edge of the big part of the box. All right, so, oh, there we go. You want to make sure I don't touch the wet part of the paint. All right, so once you get all that on, I'm just going to take a little bit of the ink in the Spice Cinnamon, which you could also get at All Paint Products. Like I said, I will put the descriptions in the box. Spice Cinnamon is such a beautiful color. It is waterproof, so you don't have to worry about it smudging. If you go to add any decoupage medium on top or a top coat, it'll be fine. Now, just go around the edges just to give it more of a vintagey aged look. And I think by putting that on, it just makes it, look how pretty that looks. Now you could leave it just like that, but of course I got to fancy it up a little bit more. So look at this beautiful bow that is from iFlex, also from All Paint Products. So we're going to paint it the green, the vintage moss, to match the checks and everything on the box. And then after I put the green on, we're also going to put on a really pretty color. It is called Vintage Lace, and it's going to really give it a really pretty aged shimmer to the bow, and it's just going to make it beautiful. Now, just taking my brush, there we go, and if you can see, I'm just trying to get into all the nooks and crannies of the bow, and just because the bow has a lot of detail in it, just make sure you get all the edges, especially you're going to be seeing from the sides and the top. You want to make sure that you get it all on there. Now, you don't have to do the back because I will be gluing it on. All right, so now we're going to get to the other side, and we're going to do the same thing. Now, it's best to do it with the 1-inch brush because if you do it with a smaller brush, it's just going to take you a long time. So I love these 1-inch little brushes, and they get into all the nooks and crannies really nicely for me. All right, so then I'm going to dry this, and then I'm going to put my vintage lace on there, and then the vintage lace does not give full coverage with one coat, so it's going to be really pretty, and it's going to let the green shine through, but also giving it a little bit of an aged shine to it. Love this color. It's my newest favorite color. I just love it. All right, so just put it on, and you're going to just do a thin coat. You do not want to cover up the green at all, so just put a nice thin coat on, and I want to make sure I get the right brush. There we go. All right, so look how pretty the coverage that you get from this vintage lace. I love putting it on my florals that I do. It just gives it a little bit of a hint of a shine also, but it also gives it the vintage look that I'm going for. There, I just want to make sure it looks pretty on the box, and it does. It does. It looks beautiful. So once I get that on there, then to stick the bow on, I like to use Type Bond Quick and Thick. That's my glue of choice, and you can find it in Amazon, any hardware store. Pretty much Walmart carries it. And that's what I like to use to stick all my iFlex molds on. iFlex molds, if you could take a look, they have trays and so many beautiful appliques to in the variety of their wood products. All right, so there we go. Doesn't that look so pretty? All right, so there's Type Bond Quick and Thick, and you can put it on with a brush. You can put it on with a stick. I just like to do it with my fingers. I find I can make sure that I getting it on the edges and everything else, so I just do it with my fingers. All right, so you don't need a lot. Also, it does dry clear if any oozes out if you put a little bit too much product on, but I like to do a thin coat. I don't like to even see clear glue oozing out from my iFlex wood products. All right, so there we go. Just put it on, thin coat. Make sure you get it on the edges though, and then you just put it on. And isn't that so beautiful? Now press it down just to make sure, and it's quick and thick, and there it is. I think it makes the box. I just love the way this Shabby Chic box turned out. I hope you liked the video. I hope you get some inspiration to make beautiful things for your home that you absolutely fall in love with. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. Have a great day.